Paul. The next thing is, and you'll see in the top left corner, it says recording if you're working on a computer. So you'll know whether it's happening, and there's, you can either pause it or stop it there. The next thing is, how many of you have been in Zoom meetings before?
I have.
Okay. How many of you have hosted Zoom meetings? A couple of you. Okay, about half and half. Okay. So I'm going to go through a couple of real basics as a host. Top right corner is if you're working on a computer, and I'm going to tell you that most of the things I'm telling you, the directions I'm giving you, are if you're on the computer. If you're on an iPad, the instructions generally are across the top. I would imagine it's the same for other tablets. If you're on a phone, the instructions are on the bottom. At least on my Android, that's where they are. And you might have to touch the screen in order to see those controls. But I'm going to be talking about mostly on the computer, because if we're doing work at home, we're frequently on our laptop or another computer. Top right on the computer screen, you can see the word either speaker view or gallery view. I want you to try out your gallery view. It's a toggle back and forth between speaker and gallery. In gallery view, it's like Hollywood Squares or the Brady Bunch. And for a small meeting like about this size, it's awesome. You can see the faces of everybody on the screen. You can see their, what they're thinking about. As I said earlier, Kenny, you look a little bit, thoughtful about this. Paul, you're kind of sitting there smiling like, what's going on here? One warning though, where I see you on the screen isn't necessarily where you see me. The order in which people are on the screen isn't necessarily the same from one person to another. So you can't just say, let's go counterclockwise or let's go clockwise in answering a question. Don't know why, but it does allow you to say things like, well, since I don't know where everybody is on the screen for you, I'm just going to call on people. And you have a reason to do that. Okay, up. Jay Bush is waiting to join us. And welcome. Hi, hi. Can you let me know your first name? Hi, I'm Susan Detwiler, and you are?
Hi, I'm Jen Bush. I'm the Executive Director at the Delaware Children's Museum.
Hi, Jen. I'm going to rename you so that we know that that's who you are, okay?
Okay. My mother liked that name, but...
What was that?
I was laughing about renaming me.
Okay. So the next thing, and I'm letting you know that we are recording this, Jen, okay?
Okay.
Down in the middle of your screen on a computer is the chat. Everybody has that, whether you're a host or whether you're attending. And you can send a note to everybody or to individuals. If you've got a question, or like I'm going too fast or whatever, down in the bottom of your screen, just hit chat and you can start typing into the chat. If you're having technical difficulties, chat to Paul. And I'm going to put his phone number in there right now, 610-909-2592, in case you're having a problem, okay? Little introduction, I'm Susan Detwiler. I facilitate meetings, facilitate strategic planning. I've been doing that for several years. And for the last 4 years, I've been using Zoom to teach classes and to do meetings. So while I am not an expert user, I am a proficient user of Zoom. And so I'm giving you some of the basics this time, and then other things that are more intricate, we're going to do on Wednesday at the same time, 1 o'clock. So you can sign up for that after this one if you want to go any deeper on it. What we just did is try to build some intimacy into the meeting. A little bit of how are you doing, what's going on in your life, etc. The kind of thing that you would do normally in person when you walk into a meeting. You don't just sit down and get right to work. in order to continue that, like you've got teams that you're working with. Everybody knows each other. How do you maintain that social lubricant of how you're doing, what's going on in your life? Let that happen at the beginning of the meeting, or invite people to come in 5 or 10 minutes early just to chat, to maintain that social lubricant that we're all missing by being in our own rooms. Here's what we're going to be covering today. I'm going to share my screen and you can see it as I go to my PowerPoint. And hold on. And you can also acknowledge that technology isn't always your friend. So this is what we're meeting, what we're going to be covering today. We already did the welcome. We already talked about a little bit about creating a virtually in-person atmosphere. The next thing we're going to cover is scheduling, how to schedule meetings and what to look out for when you're scheduling, how to invite people, what the host screen looks like, how you're going to manage participants, a little bit like what I was just doing, sharing screens, how to go into breakout rooms if you want people to break out and then come back together again, and then any questions. With this small number of people, you can ask me questions as we go along. Just raise your hand or interrupt. You can unmute unless you've got noise in the background, so we can all just be friends here. Okay? Any questions so far?
No.
Okay, awesome. When you're scheduling, you can either schedule a meeting and in advance, or open up a meeting on the fly and then invite people into it. So now I'm going to share my screen and show you what the scheduler looks like. This is the home screen. If you were to just go into Zoom Inc., up here in the right-hand corner, you would have logged in. There's my lovely picture there. And this is what you'll see on your screen. New meeting, join a meeting, share your screen, or schedule. What we did is we scheduled the meeting this time. And this is what the meeting scheduler looks like. Put in your name, when it is, the date, the time. Make sure you are very careful about whether it's AM or PM, because I've made that mistake. And you can ask it to generate your meeting ID, or if you are the host, if you have an account, you're given a personal meeting ID. You can decide whether you need to require a password. I just learned that there are people who are Zoom bombing. People who find out what your meeting ID is, find out that you're having a meeting, and will just come right in even though they weren't invited. If, however, you require a meeting password, in a separate email, you can send people that password, and only the people that you want to come in can come in. You can make it so that your video is always on, whether the participant's video is on or whether it's just you talking. And then you can also say, I want it to go on to my Google Calendar or my Outlook Calendar or my iCal or whatever. I generally opt for Google Calendar. It comes onto my Google Calendar, and then I can invite other people. And then you click schedule. And that's all it takes to schedule a meeting.
Susan, I've got a question.
Sure.
The calendar piece, is that for going on the host calendar, or is that the options for going on the participant calendars?
Both. When I use Google Calendar, it comes up onto my calendar, but Google Calendar, it comes into the edit mode immediately, so that I can then put in the emails of who I want that invitation to go to, and the invitation goes to them.
So if we don't know what they use, we should just click on all of them to cover our bases?
I don't know if it's a toggle of one or the other. I think it's easier, it might be easiest for you to just pick one, and then when you invite them, they will get the invitation, whether it's their calendar, whether it's the kind of calendar that they use or not. I have colleagues that are always on Outlook, and I get Outlook invitations. Well, I'd rather it didn't go on my Outlook, so I just transferred over to my Google.
What is other calendars, Susan?
I do not know.
Okay.
Sorry, that's not something that I've actually tried. And this is a PowerPoint presentation, so I can't click it to find out right now.
Okay.
But that's a good question. I will find out. Other calendars. What does it do? Other questions? Okay.
Do you know what the advanced options are?
The advanced options are things that I will show you on Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Where are we now? Yes. So I'm back to seeing all of you. You're seeing us. Let's talk about inviting people. Not everybody has video. Some people will be calling in. And so one of the things you have to be careful about when you're inviting people is to acknowledge that there are people who are just going to be calling in. What usually happens before a meeting? People are chatting. My recommendation is that if you're going to have a meeting, as I said, tell people to come 5 or 10 minutes early. If this is the first time you're doing it and you think there are people who have never been on a meeting before, although by now most people have, invite them to come maybe 20 minutes early so you can walk them through things, check their audio, check their video, so that they don't feel silly in front of everybody else who knows what they're doing. Give them that option to practice first. Set the stage, ask questions, start making it personal. It's the kind of thing that you'd be doing in person. Questions on inviting people, how to make them feel comfortable. One of the things that happens when people are only on the phone is that they can't see people's facial expressions. So it's really important to do things like when you're in the middle of a conversation, let people know who's talking. You know how a radio interviewer will say something like, "Thanks so much, Kenny Harris, for that remark." Because there are people on the phone who don't know who just talked. If people are nodding because somebody made a really great remark, asked a really good question, let the person on the phone know that. Priscilla, you can't see everybody's faces right now, but they're all nodding. Same thing if you're just in a conference call. It's a way to bring the person who's on the phone into the room.
One other thing that I might mention, Susan, is after you've done the initial meeting, and let's say you sent out the invitation as you were creating the meeting to 5 people, and then 2 days later you thought, oh, there are 2 more folks that I want to send that to. You can actually sign into your Zoom account, open that meeting, and send an invitation again from that meeting to those 2 new folks.
You're talking about after the meeting has already started?
No, after you've scheduled it, you
Oh,
can
okay.
actually invite more folks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good.
That's one way of doing it. And another way of doing it is going into your calendar and adding more people into your calendar invitation. And they will get that.
I have a question.
Sure, Joyce.
Susan, if you have someone who, does this have like a phone connected to it as well? So someone calls in, they're not on video, but they're calling in and they're listening to the meeting?
Yes.
Can they participate in the meeting as
Yes.
well?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
So they could do it even over their iPhone.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm just thinking like for a public meeting, when we do a board meeting and people are calling in, but they're not necessarily on video, can they communicate back and forth to us? And can
Yes.
I mute them? Can I mute them if
As
I
a
need?
host, you can mute them.
Okay. All right.
So if you have I hadn't gotten to that yet, but yes, on your, when I show you the host screen, you'll see how you can mute everybody, and then you can unmute individuals, or you can unmute everybody at once. So if you're having a public meeting and then you're opening it up for questions, then you can unmute them.
Okay. And how will I know who is calling by phone? Like, is Priscilla on phone and H. Maxon on phone?
They,
Or are they just not using their video to show their face?
I'm just not video. It's Priscilla. Joyce, can you hear me?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So my internet connection, I don't know, when I use Zoom is real unstable. So I like to use the video because it's even now it's cutting in and out.
But can you see us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
and H. Maxon, I just unmuted. They're just on audio,
Okay.
and I don't know
Can-
who H.
can-
Maxon is.
Could H. Maxon speak so I could hear their voice?
Heather, can you speak up? I'll send her a chat.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that was a problem that I had with a meeting that I conducted. People were on audio or on the phone, but I couldn't hear them. And I wasn't sure that they could hear me.
Okay. I'm going to show you the host screen, and you'll be able to see where you can turn it on and turn it off. Right
Okay.
now, I did unmute Heather, but on her end, she may not be speaking, or she may not actually be aware that we asked her to talk. Which,
My computer has audio blocked, is what she said.
oh, okay. Well, so sorry about that, Heather. I'm going to actually change your name so that we all know that you're Heather. There we go.
So does
So-
Heather have to change the audio that's blocked, or do you change, the host change?
She said that her computer has her audio blocked.
Oh, okay.
I don't
She's
have her
going
audio
into her
blocked.
computer settings now to try and change it.
Oh, okay.
She's doing a private chat right now with Paul, which is something that you can do with the chat function. It's either a private chat or a chat to everyone. So
And she can hear all of us.
excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. Heather, so glad that you can hear us. If you have questions for us, put it into the chat and we will hear your voice that way. So now that you've scheduled your meeting, you've invited people, let's walk through some of the basics of hosting, of what your screen looks like. Share. Okay. So, hello, that's me again. If you were in the middle of a meeting, you as host can invite people into the meeting, where it says click to invite participants. So you might have forgotten that, hey, it would be really great to have this person in the meeting. You can invite them there, and you can send them an email, or either have Zoom send the email or you send the email to invite them. I've done that actually in meetings with my sister. We want to invite the other sister into the conversation. This is a close-up of what's across the screen and the bottom of the screen of the host video, of the host screen. Mute, that's for me personally, not for everybody. That's for the host, whoever's, or rather that's for you as host. This is your mute button, your video button. Here's what I just show you. You can invite people. You can manage participants. And I'm going to go through some of these in a lot more detail. I'm just showing you what the screen looks like. You can manage the participants there. You can poll people. That's where you can get people, you can have people voting. You can share the screen, which is what I've been doing. The chat, which everybody has. The record button. Breakout rooms. And where you have leave meeting, I have end meeting. When I get end meeting, if I click on that, it says, do you want to end it for everybody? Or do you want to leave the meeting open? And if I leave the meeting open, I have to make somebody else the host. So it gives me that option. Okay.
I have a question. Breakout rooms are only on the host side, not on.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm going to get into breakout rooms a little bit more. I should stop share. Hello again. Yes. So I'm going to go into managing participants, sharing, and breakout rooms in more detail. The polling is like the next level, and we'll get into that on Wednesday, because I have a couple of other ways of doing voting besides just the Zoom polling. So one of the key things about making this more like in person is to make sure that everybody is, you can see everybody's names, so you know who you're talking to. You've noticed that I've been changing people's names or adding their full name in there so that you know who's on the screen. Who's in the room is really what I'm asking. Who is in the room with us? And sometimes people will sign in and their Zoom says the name of their company instead of their name. And I was actually in a meeting where that actually happened. And let's share again. See this? Can you see this screen pretty well?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. The Ray-Van group. I was in this meeting for 10 minutes before I figured out that this was actually somebody that I had met before on Facebook in a special group. And it was I was on the call for 10 minutes before I realized it was Jarrett. So if somebody comes in with their company name, change it to their individual name. Ask them, they can either do it or you can do it. And this is how you do it. On this screen, where you have managed participants, on your screen as attendees, in the bottom of your screen, you have participants, the word participants.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see everybody who's in the room. As the host, I see this. I see everybody, and I have the ability to click on mute or video as the host. Right there. Instead of just a list of participants, I can change whether we can hear them or see them. I can mute everybody, or I can unmute everybody. Paul, you're muted. I cannot hear you.
Quick point of clarification, if I did not have my video turned on and you went to this section and turned it on, you still can't manipulate my camera from your settings.
Say that again?
So if I turn my video off,
I cannot turn you on, no.
Correct. So I just wanted to, what this does is it gives the host control. Let's say somebody's acting out inappropriately. We had that happen in a meeting this last Friday. Somebody Zoom bombed our meeting, and that feature would have been totally appropriate.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Or somebody starts walking through their house and everybody's getting dizzy because they're busy carrying their thing around. They forgot to turn off the video. You can turn off their video if they haven't done it. How many of you had seen that video of the BBC, a BBC video of this expert on something that had been happening, and his child comes running into the room yelling, "Daddy, Daddy." And it was probably one of the most watched video clips in the world because the BBC made it available to everybody. And it was just so amusing. But he probably would have loved to have been able to turn off his video at that point. So for those of you who are on the phone, what I'm showing is the screen of what the host is seeing when you pull up the participants. Next to each name is a microphone and a video. And also next to each name, which you cannot see, and nobody can see, is if you hover your cursor over that name, you also get more, and there's more things you can do with that. And that's where I would rename the people. That's how I would rename people.
You hover it over the name part?
You hover it over that person. It's either over their name, depending on your setup, whether it's over their name or over the microphone and video camera icon, and you get the word more, and within more is rename. And that's how I've been renaming everybody.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay?
So it looks like we can do that over our own name as
Correct.
a participant. Right.
Oh, let's see. I'll rename myself.
Oh, let's see what you change your name to.
Hold on.
Who's saying that?
That was Joyce.
Okay, Joyce. Joyce is about to try to rename herself. Joyce Dennis Henderson. Sharing your screen. This is really, really an important feature because it allows everybody to see what you're seeing. It allows everybody to see what's on your screen. People can see budgets, people can see agendas, people can see documents that you're working on together. So I find sharing to be really helpful. What I've been sharing with you as I show you what your screens look like and what the host screen looks like, what I've been sharing is a PowerPoint, because all I was going to be doing is showing you pictures of things, and that was the easiest way to show you pictures. So,
I have a question.
Sure.
Can you work on a document together?
Yes, you can. That's going to be on the next one, on the how to do that on Wednesday.
Okay.
There's a couple of different ways to do that. That's using a whiteboard. What I'm going to show you today is a way to use sharing as a flip chart.
Okay.
Which is, I personally find simpler to use, but it may be because that's what I've practiced the most. And whatever you do, just remember, if this is the first time you're hosting and using these things, it will feel awkward. It will feel more awkward to you than it will look like to the people who are watching. And it will get better over time. I've been doing this for 4 years, and you can see that I'm still going a little bit back and forth because it's not how we normally work. Okay? So I am going to share my screen again. I told you I've been sharing a PowerPoint. And this time I'm going to share an Excel spreadsheet. Can everybody see the Excel spreadsheet? Please say something if you cannot. Paul, can you check the chat? Make sure, well, obviously the people who are on the phone, only on the phone, can't see it. I can do things. Thank you, Kevin.
No chats.
I can do things on this document. What I'm showing is a sample nonprofit organization budget. It has personnel in line 4, salary and wages in line 5, actual, projected, what the change is, the kind of thing that you might show your board or a team. If I wanted to make a change in it, or type a comment in it. Let's say, hire due to new hires. I just typed in a note next to the salary and wages, and that document now has that line in it. But everybody that is in your meeting can also see that you just did that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can save it, and you now have your document with the changes in it.
Mm-hmm.
What I've also done is set up a Word document. And this is what I meant by taking notes to use a plain Word document as a virtual flip chart. For those of you who can't see this, it is just a Word document. I'm sharing that. On the top of it, it just says, taking notes, the virtual flip chart. We could be brainstorming, we could be talking, and I'll be, well, here's something that I need to do. Okay. What does other calendars do when scheduling a meeting? And we can just put other questions up there. And at the end of our meeting today, I can save that document or print it out. It's a document that's on my computer now. And I'll know this is a question that we need to answer. Questions about sharing? When you go to share a document, let me see if I've got this. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. And this is what you see when you go to share a document. As a host, at the bottom of your screen where it says share, if you click on share, this is the screen that you see. Top left, it says desktop. The next line is whiteboard. You can connect your iPhone, you connect your iPad via cable. It shows you the different documents that you have open that you could be sharing. You may find it easier to go directly to the document. I personally find it easier to go to my desktop and then go find the document. One strong recommendation is before you start a meeting, it's a good, practicing good meeting management. Close absolutely everything on your computer except the documents you might be using. If you're going to be showing anything on your browser, make sure you close all the tabs that you're not going to be using. You don't need people knowing that you're going over to Amazon or going to look at your grandchildren's school or any other things that might not be as innocent. Okay? Close all the tabs on your browser. So this is
Susan, is the sharing screen only for the host, or can participants do that too?
It depends on how you've set up your settings. And we're going to go into settings on Wednesday because that's a slightly more advanced on how you change what you have available to you as a host. And it's up to the host when you're setting up the meeting, whether you're going to be allowing participants to share their screens. One of the things that they found is that unless you're absolutely sure that the only people who are coming into your meeting are people that you trust, that you don't just indiscriminately allow anybody to share their screen. Because they're finding, unfortunately, there are malevolent people out there who are sharing pornography after they jump into somebody else's meeting. Life. They've got nothing better to do. Okay. So let me stop share.
Susan, if something like that happens, is there a Zoom jail or cop or somebody that you can report it to? Like if someone crashes your meeting?
Not really, because there's so many things, so many meetings going out there. It's up to the host to set up preventions for that. If that happens, you can kick them out as a host. You just go up to their name because they're going to show up, and you can just kick them out. That's one of your options as a host, is to kick people out.
Mhm.
You can turn off the video immediately and then kick them out, or just kick them out. You can set up, and we'll go into this on Wednesday, how to do this, but set it up. So, you know, you all were kind of in a waiting room before I admitted you.
Mhm.
You can set it up so that all of your meetings are like that. You have to admit people. You can always decide not to admit somebody. Other questions so far? How's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
Okay. So everybody can just stand up right now if you're able, stretch a little bit. One of the things that happens with
Do the hokey pokey.
do the hokey pokey, whatever. One of the things that happens is that we don't realize that while we may be in a meeting that's
Can't hear you.
you may need to do this a little more often than if you were in person.
I'm going to change positions.
Yep, that's
I would say that's particularly true at this time because I'm in a lot of Zoom meetings now. So you really don't get to move from office to office. You go from meeting to meeting, so you're sitting a lot.
Yep, and it's one of the things that we're all learning without realizing it, that, oh, it's just another hour-and-a-half meeting. I'm used to hour-and-a-half meetings. It's not the same. It's not the same. Okay, let's see. Breakout rooms. That's the last formal thing I'm going to be demonstrating is breakout rooms. And they're mostly useful when you're having like a planning session or a conference of some kind. But you can take everybody in your meeting and put them into separate rooms with each other. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9 of us here. I'm hosts. So I can break you into 2 or 3 different breakout rooms, and all you'll see are the people that I put you into the room with. And you can have a conversation and then come back and report back. So that's what the breakout rooms are like. Let me show it to you first. This is what you'll see. Let me share first. Actually, no. I'm going to put you into breakout rooms and then I'm going to show you how I did it. 2 breakout rooms, automatically create breakout rooms. What you will get is an invitation to go into the breakout room, and you click yes. Option.
Is that going to come to an email?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Kenny, you should be seeing something on your screen that invites you to a breakout room. And you just click on that and say yeah and accept it. I can't hear you. Oh, that's because you're muted.
I exit out of it. Will it come back? I'm sorry.
Oh, you went in and then left again?
No, I just clicked X. I was doing too much.
Oh, okay.
I'll join it. I can join it. I see it. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello? Okay.
Hello
Hi, we're
there.
back again.
Hello, everybody.
I like the breakout rooms.
I know. Penny, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, okay.
I like to talk to you later too, Kenny.
Yeah.
You made me laugh, Kenny.
So I was actually in a conference last week where I was learning more about how to run really large conferences this way. There were 50 some odd people in the conference.
Wow.
They used breakout rooms. They put everybody into pairs. Then they combined pairs into fours. Then they combined fours into eights. And then brought everybody back together. They had us first talking about what are the challenges of running large conferences through video, and what are the solutions that can mitigate those challenges. And it was a great conference. With 50 people in the conference, we felt like we were able to create some intimacy with the 2 and the 4 and the 8 because we were in a smaller group.
Excellent.
I'm still learning how to combine breakout rooms, but I know how to put them into 2 4s and 8s. I just don't know how to combine them yet. I have to learn that one. Maybe I'll know it by Wednesday.
Okay.
Questions about breakout rooms? I want to show you what it looks like from the host screen. Okay. So share.
Chris had a question about the breakout rooms.
Oh, okay.
Can you, as the host, change the delay time to enter back into the break room, or is it always a minute?
I think you can change it. You can change how long you want the meetings to be in advance so that you don't have to be standing there watching your clock. I don't know whether, I think you can change how long it takes before the 1 minute, how long that 1 minute warning is, whether it can be a 30-second or a 2-minute. But I can also, as the host, you can say, I'm putting you into breakout rooms for 5 minutes. And then it will give you at 4 minutes, the 1 minute warning.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Back to the PowerPoint. So, move you around here, okay. So I practiced this with my cousins because they're both professors at Columbia University and they were being told, now you have to teach video, and they've never done it either. So we were practicing this. So the breakout rooms, let's say there were 3 people, you can assign 2 participants into 1 room, but what it will do is if you have automatically clicked, you tell it how many rooms, it will do the math for how many should go into each room. If you do it manually, the screen will show you something different. If you say you want to do it manually, it will show you the different breakout rooms, and you can assign people to that breakout room. So for example, in order for me to have more than 1 breakout room with 3 of us in the thing, my cousin joined also from his iPad. So I could put his iPad and Anna into breakout room 2. So what I'm given is the list of all the people who are in the conference, and you check which ones go into which room.
So if it's on, I have a question. If it's on automatic, would you know who was assigned to the designated breakout rooms?
You'll see it.
Okay.
You can see who's in the different rooms, but unless you say manual, you don't have the control over who goes into which room.
Okay.
And if you say that you want to add another room, you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is what you can see on who's in which room.
Okay. Got you.
And if I want to, I can move them to another room.
Mm-hmm.
When you saw the note that said, tell everybody where you live,
Mhm.
that was me broadcasting a message to all, which is probably not a bad way of reminding people this is what you're supposed to be talking about.
Right.
And then I can close all rooms, or I could have set it up for how long I want the room to be open, but I can still close all rooms on the fly. In the broadcast, in the sample broadcast, I said, you have 3 minutes to get back. One thing I want to point out is you see the screen that you have in front of me right now, where it says unassigned. There's a red number there saying you forgot to assign somebody.
Uh-huh.
This is the person you forgot to assign. So you might have decided I'm going to put these people here and these people here and these people there. And it says, you forgot somebody. If you're going to use this and you know how you want people to be broken out, my recommendation is that you have your list of attendees and you've already decided in advance who you're likely going to want to put with whomever. It might be by department. It might be that you want to mix departments up together. You might want to do it based on these 3 people want to all dominate conversations. You don't want them in with the most timid person, but you've got your list in advance. And you may change it on the fly based on who made it to the meeting or not, but at least you have some idea if you're going to be breaking them out and not automatically, instead of having to think about it in the moment.
So where you had the word 3 minutes,
Yeah,
that can be changed to 5 minutes, right?
that was, let me go back. See this arrow going down to broadcast a message to all?
Mm-hmm.
What I broadcast to my cousins is 3 minutes. What I broadcast to you was tell where you live.
Mm-hmm.
So you can put anything in there.
Okay.
And that's where I suggested that you might put, this is your reminder of who we're, of what you're supposed to be talking about.
I'm sorry, Susan,
Mm-hmm.
did you tell us where we would set the time up? Did you show us where we would set the time up for the breakout rooms?
No, I don't know if I did. Hold on. I unfortunately did something that I should not have done before. I have some things on my screen that you don't have right now. There. Let's see. Create breakout rooms. Add a room, options. Options is where you would set the time for it. I did not show you what that looks like yet, though, because I haven't, right. I didn't show you what it looks like, but it's under options.
Thanks.
Okay,
What is recreate?
that's a good question. I'm going to
I believe recreate means that you had breakout rooms, brought everybody back to the main meeting, and then you wanted to break them out into the same rooms again, and you just say recreate, and it repopulates them.
Oh, it repopulates.
sounds good. Sounds like that's what it would do. Have you used that, Paul?
I have not used it.
Okay.
Hope you're right, Paul.
I guess we'll find out. That's why I put it into the questions to be answered.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. I just clicked over to that. Did you see the flip chart when I clicked over?
Yes.
Yes.
I was hoping you did. That's
So
what it's
Susan, why don't
supposed to
you,
do.
why don't you click recreate and it'll push us all back to our rooms?
I can't. This is a
can't.
this is a PowerPoint picture.
PowerPoint.
No, I meant that you actually created us in rooms a little while ago. You
Oh,
go back in and push us back in again.
yeah. Good idea. Let me stop share. And under breakout rooms, recreate, assign automatically, recreate all rooms, open them.
It's a little slow.
So Kevin had to leave. He had a 2
Yeah.
o'clock call. But I noticed that Kenny came into room 1 after you said recreate and Kevin left. So it must have balanced the rooms
Because it was automatic.
because it was automatic, but the rest of us were the same. So if Kevin had stayed,
Yeah.
I think Kenny would have gone into the other room.
And the other possibility is if I had set it up as manual, then you would have gone into the same rooms because I had designated it. And Denise asked what happens to the recording feature during breakouts, and I'm still working on finding that out. And that's actually a great question, which I will just type in.
Awesome.
We'll talk.
Well, glad you all like that. That's good. I love it. I love it.
You were right, Paul.
I'm supposed to ask, like, what was he right about there?
It's
That's-
nice to be right now and again.
Recreating would put us back into the breakout rooms.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. That's actually the end of the formal presentation. I'm here. I can take questions. Really have to be careful about remembering that there are people on the phone. Right now, we don't have people on the phone. We have people who can who can see us, but we can't see them. So the expressions on your faces were seen by them. If they were just on the phone, what you'd see is a picture of a telephone. And we would change their name. I changed phone numbers into names so that it's much more visible that they're there. But it's really important. If you see somebody that's just a phone, it's a handset that's a picture of, be inclusive. Make sure that they can hear you. Make sure that they're aware of the facial expressions that are happening around the room, general laughter, etc. Well, they'll hear the general laughter.
And you say if they're on the phone and I can't hear them, I can do what to be able to hear them? What should I do?
As a host, you can unmute them.
Okay.
You'll be under participants. You'll still see them there, but it won't have a picture of a little camera, a video camera. It will have the microphone.
Okay.
And it will either be on or off. If it's on and you can't hear them, chat to them and say, is everything okay with your phone?
Okay.
Okay. Other questions? I do suggest you come on Wednesday at 1. Some of the questions you've asked, I will go and find out the answers to. I'm also going to demonstrate the setup, your settings that will allow you to go into breakout rooms, that will allow you to have other people share their screens and different ways of taking votes.
Susan, I sent a chat question about recording when you go into breakout. What happens to the recording feature?
That's one of the questions that I want to find out because I have yet to see a recording that included the breakouts in it. So it may be that the individual breakouts are not recorded, but I want to confirm that one way or the other.
Okay. I have a question too. So if we go into an executive session, we could use the breakout rooms, but we could return back to the main meeting, right?
Yes.
It's like we just did here. Okay.
So what's interesting about that too, and I believe Susan, after we stop recording this one and we scroll back when we broke out into breakout rooms, you could find out that I think the main meeting is silent. But how that relates to what you're talking about, Joyce, is if you go into executive session, you actually don't want it recorded.
Right. Absolutely. So that works out for me that it's not being recorded in an executive session. But I just wanted to make sure that, you know, I could get back to the public meeting.
Right. You can end the breakout.
Yep.
Right.
Like you just did.
And sometimes our executive sessions are about 30 minutes. So you're saying that I can also go in there and set it up for 30 minutes.
Or you can, what I did is I brought everybody back and then it gave you a 30-minute, a 60-second warning.
Yeah.
So as the host, I brought you back.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, one thing that I didn't mention is that the host is not automatically put into a breakout session, but the host can enter breakout sessions.
And leave at will.
And leave. So Joyce, let's say you put the executive session together, then you as the host can join it.
Oh, okay. Good. All right.
And you can pop back out and say, we're still in executive session and we will return to the meeting in about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
The public meeting.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. I had another question.
Okay.
I lost it. I lost it. I'm trying
That's okay. That's
Mm.
okay. We've got, you know, I'm available. You can send an email to Paul or to me or whomever.
Okay.
So as I said, that's the end of our formal presentation. I'll hang out here. Paul will hang out here if you've got more questions. If you think of any, you might want to send them to us and we'll see if we can answer them by Wednesday.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for your attention.
Thank
All
you.
right. And so you said the next one, the more advanced one, is on Wednesday at 1 o'clock.
Correct.
Okay.
And you have to register for it.
Yes.
Same way you did for this.
Okay. That works.
Nice meeting y'all.
All right,
Nice
thank
meeting
you.
See you,
you.
Kenny.
See
All
ya.
right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Joyce.
Bye.
And I'm going to stop recording.